What up, YouTube Live? Happy to see me again. We just had Rockin' at Rama Screen Live earlier today, and now I'm back. So I just finished watching The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 3, titled Warning Signs, and I figured I want to give my review or my thoughts about it to you guys. And you know what? Previously, I just usually titled it as my thoughts about so and so, The Walking Dead episode so and so. But now I'm just gonna just title it review from this point forward. But as always, with all my recaps, um, this video contains spoilers. So spoiler alert, you've been warned. This video contains spoilers. So let's break down this episode. All right. So for those of us, The Walking Dead fans who've been following this new season, would know that there's animosity and tension between Daryl and Justin. Justin is played by actor Zach McGowan, who is one of my favorite actors. You should check out him in the series Black Sails, where he played an actual, like a historical pirate named Charles Vane. And man, Zach did amazing in that one. So it's good to see him. Like, oh my goodness, he got a gig in the Walking Dead. I hope it lasted a while, but nope. It did not last. So at the end of last week's episode, somebody snatches him up in the woods. Um, and at the beginning of this episode, again, I mentioned it to you, spoiler alert, okay? His character gets killed off. Basically, Justin becomes a zombie. And I was like, oh man, so goodbye, Zach McGowan. He is not sticking around. Um, I guess as a fan, I'm kind of sad about it, but totally understand. So hopefully he gets other gigs from this point forward. Um, but yeah, Justin becomes a zombie. So um, the rest of this episode is basically a whodunit mystery. Who killed Justin? Who's trying to cause this rift to go even wider between the the communities or the facets, because in previous episodes there's been like suspicion and bitterness, between the saviors and the Alexandrians and the hilltop regarding resources and whatnot. And now with Justin getting killed, it widens that divide even more, and that makes Rick's job to realize Carl's vision. Remember his son Carl? It makes his job even more difficult now. But before we get to that, at the beginning parts of the episode, we also see some hopeful moments, mostly regarding Rick and the little ass kicker Judy, his daughter, and Michonne. So this little family that's so adorable, the three of them enjoying each other's company, and ah, they really do their best. They, as in Michonne and Rick, do their best to be not only good parents to Judy, but to shelter Judy from the realities of the world. They play hide and seek. They read storybooks. So they do their best to keep Judy in a bubble, and I think that is a wise move because you want her childhood to remain intact. You don't want her innocence to be all like, "Oh my goodness, what is that dead corpse?" and whatnot. So, and I think they're doing a fine job of doing that for Judy. Um, in the beginning parts of the episode, we also see there's some development regarding the plantations and the fruits and the tomatoes. In the previous episodes, they were like worried and concerned, like, wow, nothing's growing here. The crops are producing nothing. There's no result. Um, but slowly but surely, it seems like, okay, things seems to be looking up. Um, and the tomatoes look fantastic. I myself am not too big a fan of tomato. Um, but some people find it easy, just to eat it raw and straight up. I don't like it that way. I like my tomato sliced, and put inside some kind of a burger or some PB&J whatnot. That's how I like my tomato, or in the form of a ketchup. So that moment. Let me see my notes here. That moment in the bedroom where Rick was conversing with Michonne, and Michonne is working on the charter. Um, a little bit of a note on that. I think it's nice that they're trying to come up with some kind of a constitution or Bill of Rights, whatever you want to call it, that they hope would be the foundation of this little civilization that they're trying to build. It's as if like the dawn of the United States again, and they're the founding fathers, Michonne and Rick, and except Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin never actually fought zombies. So this experiment that they're trying to do, because the United States itself is an experiment, continues to be the democracy that we have right here. Um, and I think that's a pretty interesting. I don't know if it's gonna work out, um, but kudos on them putting the effort or attempting it at least. They're thinking like maybe for all these facets to, let's call them colonies, like the early days of America, colonies, for these colonies to actually find something in common and to work together and to lessen the tension between them. Let's have some kind of a ground or framework, um, that everybody could pretty much go to whenever there's something that they have to, like a constitution, like a charter. So I guess for me, it's kind of surprising to see Michonne working on it. I was always expecting, if there's somebody working on a constitution or charter in a zombie apocalypse world, would be somebody with an accountant background, or back in the other life before zombies, that he or she was some kind of a clerk or something, or maybe a law background, right? But hey, kudos to Michonne for attempting it, as I said earlier. But immediately that gets interrupted by Rick seemingly suggesting that they need to produce another baby. Um, my reaction to that is pretty ballsy. Remember what I said last week about Carol not wanting to marry Ezekiel? Maybe Carol thinking like the concept of marriage in a zombie apocalypse world is insane, it's stupid, nothing really lasts out here. You and I could get killed any moment. And I understand where she's coming, from that perspective. So the idea of Rick and Michonne trying again, or maybe not again, but trying to produce, in the sake of future. I guess ballsy is the word. I'm a little bit of risky, a little bit risky. I don't know if I was in Rick's place, I don't know if I would suggest such a thing. But maybe Rick is in a place where he feels safe enough. He's like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. The world be damned. So, okay. So and then the episode cuts to the members of the Saviors encountering Maggie and this and Maggie's collaborator, or Maggie's partner, on the road, and obviously clearly that the Saviors are pissed at the fact that Justin died. I'm sorry, by this time they don't know yet that Justin had died. They're looking for him. They say Justin's missing, and this guy that steals the tomato from the back of Maggie's truck, I recognize the actor. I look him up, and he's the same guy who plays Billy, the director Billy from the Entourage series. Are any of you guys Entourage fans out there? In the series Entourage, he's the guy who directs that movie Medellin for Vincent Chase about the Pablo Escobar, and he's like, oh, he always has demands, and he's hard to please. So it's fun to see him here in The Walking Dead. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Good to see him in this world. Um, clearly, his character is a loose cannon. You know, he's like very antagonistic, very confrontational, um, not easy to to trust anybody. Um, and I don't blame him because the saviors pretty much have been put into some kind of a labor duty. They don't even get to own guns, um, but that is part of their punishment. They have to get used to that. Um, so okay, so right now let's see my notes here. Okay, so we'll fast forward to the moment when they find out that Justin had died, and bam, you see them in the camp, in the woods. I mean, and man, everybody's like clashing with each other, like right. It's like punching each other in the face, and it's like, no, that Daryl did it because Daryl hated Justin's guts. No, Ann did it because Ann hated Simon's guts. Because all you guys here have a reason to hate us, the saviors. Um, and this guy, this guy who played Billy in the Entourage series, he's the loose cannon guy. He's the hothead one. He's just like, you know what? It's there's no use of trying to make this work between us. You're always gonna accuse us, and now you've killed one of us. Justin, and we can't even get to have our own guns. Fuck you guys all. So it gets really tense until Rick breaks them up, and my reaction to that is because this is when the whodunit murder mystery is permeating, and so Anne is the suspect, and then Daryl is also is a suspect, and Rick puts on his sheriff. He gets in his sheriff mode again, and that has happened in the past. Um, I forgot what season and what episode, but there was an episode also about a whodunit murder mystery, and in that episode, Rick also uh, uh, taps into his police instinct, because he was a sheriff way, way, way back in the day. So he's like, "Oh, this looks like an arrow," and so he questions Daryl, and then Daryl says, "No, I didn't do it." And so now the Daryl, Carol, and a little group of them trying to figure out who did this. Because whoever killed Justin, as I said earlier, pretty much widens the tension even more, and makes the job of getting everybody along together, makes that job much more difficult now, because the saviors is like, hey, you killed one of us, you killed us basically. Um, I as far as because before we get to the ending, did I see it coming? I mean, have I? Because you always wonder about murder mystery. Is it predictable? In this case, in this episode, frankly, I did not see it coming. I don't know um, who did it. I don't think it. I never thought it was Anne or Daryl in the first place. Um, but definitely somebody who has beef against the savior. That much I know for sure. At least my instinct, at least. I get the sense like somebody. This got to be vengeance driven. Um, while we before we get to the revelation of who did it, there's the episode also tackles Anne, the leader of the scavengers, the garbage people. She comes back to her old place, and she's communicating with somebody, and it has to do with the mystery of that damn stupid helicopter. That helicopter that's been like in our heads. Like, what is that? Who's flying that shit? Um, and she's trying to convince Father Gabe. Remember, they have some sort of a feelings, or towards each other. They have some sort of a relationship. They even kissed. Remember, Father Gabe is not Catholic. I guess it's Episcopalian. Apparently, Episcopalian priests are allowed to date. I didn't know that. So anyway, so she's offering Father Gabe, hey, let's get out of here. I know a better place. I know a better community. We can make something there instead of staying here. But Father Gabe is loyal to Rick. And I gotta give him some much million tons of credit for that. You know, because at that moment he could have said, "Yes, I'll go with you, Anne." You know, he could have put his feelings, over loyalty. But Father Gabe has gone through too much with Rick. Remember, in the past, there was tension between Rick and Father Gabe. So, but they have history now. So Father Gabe does not have any reason to not trust Rick. You know, basically Rick has gotten him this far. Why would he turn his back now on Rick? It would not make sense for him. Um, so we'll see the update of this relationship drama between them next week. But obviously, it ends tonight with Anne whacking him in the head. So, not sure where that will take us. But revelation at the end, let's talk a bit about that before we conclude this review. And I'll give you my overall thought, I should say, about whether or not or how good this episode was. Um, so it turns out the person who killed Justin is not just one person, but a group of the Oceanside people whose loved ones, whose brother, whose husband were killed by the saviors under the direction of Simon, back when Simon was still alive and was Negan's right hand man. And so this was pretty. This was good writing, in my opinion. That moment when the girl that's about to execute that the savior member, she said that because he said to Maggie and Daryl is there, and they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you executing this woman?" And so the girl said, and this is powerful stuff. I'm trying to get this right. I'm paraphrasing it, of course. I may not get it verbatim, but she said like, "I noticed that when you killed Gregory, because Gregory got hung by Maggie's punishment. When you killed Gregory, we realized that there's no one rule. It's not just Rick's rule or Rick's way of doing things. There's also your rule. There's also the Maggie's way of doing things. And that gives us permission to enact on our vengeance, on our revenge on these people who killed our loved ones." Um, Maggie and Daryl just walk away and let them do the deed, and that was just that's some cold hard shit right there, man. Oh my goodness, especially when you hear the story of how the loved ones get killed. Oh, devastating, heartbreaking. Um, and at the end of the episode, Maggie says to Daryl, "It's time now to see Negan." Wow, that's huge. That's huge because now you're wondering in your head, it's like, oh, what is this thing that Daryl and Maggie are planning now? Because we don't get that yet. But why does that plan have to involve Negan? I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Are they trying to bust him out of jail and kind of form some kind of an alliance with Negan? Because that would be insane. That would be so insanity, man. Um, yeah, basically the cards are not really shown. They're keeping many of the cards full for tonight, or closed for tonight's episode. But let me conclude with this. So I just gave you what happened here in episode 3. and some of my reaction to the things or the moments and the situations. Overall, this episode is whew, it's pretty powerful. Probably one of my favorite episodes in the past two seasons of The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead have or has, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It has its moments. Like it goes up, it goes down. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's stagnant. Sometimes it recycles the same formula. Sometimes it doesn't. In this one, it it goes to my point from last week when I told you at the end of my review video that I wonder how they're going to topple the leadership of Rick and Maggie, because Ezekiel doesn't have leadership anymore. I think a lot of the kingdom were killed in that massacre. Um, so I wondered that, but I did not expect for Maggie and Daryl to come up with an idea to to see Negan as part of their potentially toppling Rick. Um, but that shot at the end when the Oceanside kids kill that savior member, that is powerful. That got me right here. Um, a part of me is like, yes, go ahead, man, stab that woman right through the head, and that's what happened. But a part of me is like, oh man, with that means, with that being done, that means this whole utopia that Rick's trying to build is collapsing because it's back to the old jungle rule again: kill or be killed, an eye for an eye. So with this happening, in the shadows, in the dark, or without the knowledge of Rick, because only Maggie and Daryl know about it, that means the foundation of what Rick is trying to build is corroding from beneath or from within it, because clearly the members of their community are applying their form of justice. They saw what Maggie did to Gregory and it's like, hey, let's do that too. And so now we see, two ways of pretty much applying justice. Whereas Rick's like, no, let's do the whole civilization way, with a charter, Bill of Rights, Constitution. We'll form some sort of a courtroom trial too one of these days, or proven innocence. I don't know. He has the big vision of Carl's Kumbaya versus the old ways of doing things, the Maggie's way of doing things. They're like an eye for an eye, you know, kill or be killed. This is zombie apocalypse, no mercy kind of thing. But am I? Do I feel like, oh man, why did those girls have to kill that one woman at the end? No, no, no. To tell you the truth, I have no sympathy for that woman that got shanked at the end. I know that makes me sound like a bad guy, but I kind of root for the Oceanside dude. Their loved ones got massacred by Simon and Simon's people in the most heartless way. Like, wow. I don't know. I guess maybe this is the part of me where maybe civilization and all the hopeful stuff could be set aside just for this one moment of vengeance. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in this one. What do you think? If you disagree, let me know. But yeah, overall, this is a fantastic episode. It really makes it really digs even deeper, right? Because it's not a filter episode. It's not going on tangent somewhere. It really digs to, like, because now you see the consequence of Maggie's decision to kill Gregory. It has that aftermath effect on the people who witnessed it, and yeah, as I said earlier, now it's gonna really riff that or widen that divide even more. Because remember, a big chunk of them don't know what happened, don't know who killed Justin. Still don't know. Only these guys and Daryl and Maggie that know. And yeah, they're losing their trust in Rick's vision, in Rick's trying to create the civilization. They're like, it's a fool's errand, fool's dream. It's not gonna happen, you know. Um, or maybe you can argue, hey Rama, maybe Maggie and Daryl don't want to see Negan to form an alliance with him. Maybe they actually go to jail to kill Negan because Negan, killed Glenn and Abraham. That could be it too. That could be a theory. So we won't know till next week's episode. But for this episode 3, warning signs, it's fantastic. I loved it. It was really, really the whodunit murder mystery and the conclusion at the end with the effect of Maggie's decision. That it comes full now. Um, well, not completely full yet. It's not much of it hasn't been revealed yet. But what I'm trying to say is that you see, things start to go in motion against Rick, and now we're just gonna see how it'll play out. Every one of them. All right, that's it. That's my review of The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 3, titled Warning Signs, which I really, really enjoyed. Fantastic episode. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below, and share this review with all your friends on the YouTube verse. And as always, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And as always, if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Support monthly basis. Please, let's rock this.